Welcome to the Men on Purpose podcast, featuring dynamic conversations with emerging and established visionary men on purpose. Thanks for joining us today as we celebrate the men on purpose who are committed, creative, courageous changemakers, living their best, most fulfilling life possible. Now, here's the host of Men on Purpose, Meredith Lobas.
Hey everybody, today on the Men on Purpose podcast, we have a special episode. As you can tell, I'm not Ian. I'm Ian's wife, Meredith, the brains behind the operation. We have received a ton of calls and messages asking us about our lives together and how we do what we do successfully. Rather than interviewing a man on purpose, once a month, Ian and I are going to talk about being an entrepreneurial family on purpose, navigating and evolving in the world of marriage, family, and business together. In the last 10 years, we've met, dated, got married, changed careers, welcomed 2 kids, built several businesses, had amazing successes, miserable failures, been close to walking away from each other, and everything in between. Things haven't been perfect, but that's not what we're living for. We are curious as to what is possible and what could be when we get past our own limitations. What we are seeking is to live the most purposeful life possible without constraint or restriction for ourselves and our family. In these special episodes, we are going to share our story, who we are, and how we have evolved over the years and navigated the world of family, marriage, and success together. And our hope is that you can take some of what we have learned at home to get to know your partners, your family, and most of all, yourself at a more serving level. We appreciate all of you downloading episodes and supporting us through our growth and the evolvement of this podcast. Remember, people who are on purpose take action. So if something you hear today resonates with you, reach out to us by going to our website, ianlobas.com/apply. Let's get to the episode.
All right, Mayor. I love that intro. Here we are. And guess what? Our sound is way better.
Way better.
Because we got new equipment since the last episode we recorded.
So now we can actually chat with each other.
Yeah. With our own mics and our own headphones. We've got this cool Rodecaster Pro mixing board that our boy Rob Actis hooked us up with. And it's exciting because of the promise to educate, elevate, and evolve as much as we possibly can to bring all of you listening just the absolute best that we have. We're going to share openly and vulnerably. And remember, these episodes with Meredith and I are going to be us sharing our story.
Right.
And the things that we learned, the successes, the failures, and anything that you pick up that you can learn from it, great. And if you just want to listen to us banter for an hour, great. Either way, it's great.
There's some entertainment in there.
It's going to be entertaining at the very least. But, sharing our story, like we want to be, in full gratitude because, we had so many people reach out who heard our first episode a couple weeks ago, or maybe a month ago by the time this airs, and who said, that was so neat to get an inside look, fly on the wall look at and listen to like the inside workings of your relationship and the start. One of the other goals that we're using for this is we want our story and the things that we've gone through to be memorialized on this recording, right? So our kids, future generations can hear what we experienced and then maybe learn from our story as well so that their lives can be elevated and evolved. And maybe they don't have to go through as many experiences or fail points or guess points. And maybe we can be some, more of a guide or a coach to them. And you too. So we're just going to share our story. And so for the first couple episodes, we're just going to go through our story. And then after that, we're going to dig into specific topics like trust and confidence and love and literally anything and everything having to do with the relationship. And remember, Meredith and I have been in business together for
8 years.
8 years.
Well, 7, I guess, is technically. Well, I was helping you even from the beginning.
Yeah. So it's just going to be a really cool journey with us. And we appreciate you being here and listening, and we love you for that. And we appreciate you for downloading and reviewing and sending us messages of things that you want to hear us talk about. And like, we're going to be open books, so it might get a little uncomfortable, but that's how you grow, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this time we're going to start out with where we ended last time. And if you haven't listened to the last episode, go listen to that after this. But where we ended off was telling each other that we love each other. And like, obviously, if you're watching this video, this is the last one we're going to do in this makeshift studio that we have in one of our spare bedrooms. We're crammed into a corner here. Yes, our equipment is skyrocketed. However, our space has not. Next time, we just finished a space in the basement. We'll have this huge studio, and it's not going to have.
It'll look pretty.
It won't have sheets up on the wall.
They aren't sheets.
Well, these are actually backdrops, but anyway.
One just needs to be
steamed. Okay, so let's get rolling here. Love. That's where we were, is telling each other that we love each other. And I think, one of the things that Aaron and I talked about on one of our episodes was in partnerships, which is what a marriage is, a business partnership, is that people, they get in because they're missing something, or they're trying to get the other person to fill a void in their life without actually doing the work on themselves.
Right.
I don't feel from my side that I did that with you. Do you feel?
Think so either.
Okay.
And I feel like we had this conversation early on too about why are you standing, like, because that's how I was standing.
Yep.
I do remember we had this conversation where we were at like Mama's on the Half Shell one night.
When we first started dating?
When we first started dating. And I was going to go into a story about Mama's on the Half Shell.
Oh.
But we don't need to. We were down there and we were having this conversation about our relationship and just how.
When was this? Was it early on?
It probably was. Well, there were no. There was definitely another conversation prior to getting engaged. But I remember we've probably touched on this many times over the years, but it sounds kind of like corny to say like, oh, it just worked out so seamlessly, because it hasn't been. Nothing's been perfect.
Well,
but
growth hasn't been.
Right.
The initial.
Yeah, it just made sense.
Yeah, I feel that way too.
There was never like I don't know, maybe we should see
other people.
Like, take a little break here. I mean, we
hit it.
We did.
I knew at that point, because I had made mistakes in my past, jumping in, rushing in, doing things for ego. I had made mistakes that I was just clear when I met you, because it was effortless in a really good way. It wasn't like, oh, I don't have to put any effort in because this other person is trying so hard. It was, we could just come to the table together as who we were. And in all honesty, I didn't know who I was, really. I mean, it took time even in our relationship to figure that out. But at the point of when we met, I was more clear about who I was than I had been, let's say, the decade before that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it made it easy, or let's just say the 5 years before that, or 6 years. It made it easy for me to align with you and just know that this was the right thing to do.
Right.
It felt right. The signs were there. I also did something for all of you out there listening who maybe aren't in a relationship, or you've gone through several or many relationships and you're thinking like, how do I dial this thing in? I did this thing called a dating profile, and not the one that I have on eHarmony or had on eHarmony, but it was a dating profile. And I actually use a dating profile today when I'm coming up with new concepts, new businesses, people I want to hire, people I want to work with, my ideal client profiles, cars I want to buy.
Well, why do you call it a dating profile?
That's just what it was. Because I want to, because in dating, you're trying to figure out the commitment pieces, right? And so the aha that I had back then was to start using this dating profile. And I learned this through Tony Robbins on, I don't know if it was a podcast back then, but it was on, I don't know what it was on back then, but I heard him talking about getting divorced.
I think back then we had CDs.
Yeah. It wasn't a CD though. It was like on the internet somewhere.
On the internet.
And I remember him saying, I created this dating profile, and I was solid in who I wanted. I was solid in who I was, and I was looking for this person. So not only would I confidently know when they came along, but I would know that the yes could be effortless, and that I was honoring myself. And again, this is why I use this in everything that I do today, is that in making big decisions where I'm going to have to court somebody for, a long period of time and then really get into the relationship with them, or a car, or my podcast equipment. I mean, I researched this for like 90 days. And so I wrote this thing out and I said, this is the person that I want. And I actually started by, this is the person that I don't want anymore. Right? I'm super A-type, super high D personality. And I was dating a lot of people that were that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't mixing. And when I met Mare she was a very good compliment. When I met you, sorry.
I am standing here.
You are standing here. You were a really great compliment to me. And so when I looked at my dating profile, I thought, man, she's checking every box. And what Tony said on that was, if they don't check every box and you are solid and confident on every box, that you need that. And the work is to go through that dating profile and comb it like every day for a couple weeks and really think like, do I need this piece about this person? Do I need them to be like this, or to have this, or to act like this? Or am I compensating for something that I'm lacking? Back that up. Do I need this from somebody, or am I compensating for something that I'm lacking? And if it's the compensation piece, then start doing the work on yourself.
Right.
Because I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that 95% of all people do not do the work on themselves. They get into a relationship with somebody else that raises their levels almost falsely. And then they're miserable when the dust settles and when the new puppy syndrome wears off. They're miserable, and it's not the other person's fault. However, they blame the other person.
Right.
They're pissed off because they haven't done the work on themselves, and they don't even know that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they do, but they're not willing to do the work. So one of the first challenges that we had was figuring out if we were the right fit, because we wanted to make this thing last for forever. One of the things on my dating profile is, I don't want to be a divorced person. I want a relationship that lasts until the end of my time here, or that person's time here. Right? What are you laughing about?
The end of our time here.
Yeah. So the encouragement that I have for all of you is, or our challenge to you is, think about that. In your current relationship, are there things that you would choose? Are there things you like and don't like? And of those things you don't like about that other person, are those reflections in yourself that you don't like about you, that you're projecting on that other person, which we all go through.
Yeah.
We all go through. Journal that out, rewrite your dating profile, share that with your spouse, or share that with your potential partner or your friend or whoever, or your accountability group, and then own it. And if you realize that there's work to be done within yourself to get into that alignment, then get into alignment. Go seek the right person or the right group or the right training or coaching or whatever. This isn't an infomercial for our coaching business or our front runner events business.
Sponsored by.
However, we can help with that. And if you want to reach out to us, remember,
unveil.com/.
Apply. People on purpose take
action. Oh, that's what you were looking for.
Yeah. People on purpose take.
People on purpose take action.
Right. So there's two types of people. You're either on purpose or you're not. You're either design or you're default. If you're default, then you are living life the way that it comes to you. If you're design, you're living life the way that you want to. It's an everything happens to you versus everything happens for you mentality. And I will never live that happens to you mentality, because that is a waste of a life. My opinion. Argue with me. Change my mind. Dare you.
Change
my mind about that. You're up.
Oh, I'm
What did you do? Were you just like,
that was a lot.
It was a lot. That's something that, remember, as we're sharing, we're discovering ahas, and we're sharing our ahas live with you, because that's our commitment. We're going to open this thing up. And the tools that we used, look, do we have a perfect relationship? No. I think it's damn close to it. One of the biggest things is because our communication.
Right. Well, and I think we the breakdown, and then like the build back, like,
Yep.
you know, building it back up. Whenever there's a breakdown,
Yep.
we don't just let it, the crumbs or the crumble, whatever. We don't just sweep it away.
Yeah. We deal with it.
We deal with it. We have to, I mean, because
we work through it.
We've had to work through a lot of things.
I love these buttons.
Cheering for us.
When things come up that are dark, ooh, we handle it.
Oh my God.
Just a little humor on the Men on Purpose podcast.
Innovating. New toys.
Innovating, elevating. Come on. So for you, that beginning, and we can stay on this topic, because I think that's really, really.
The beginning, just like, I mean, there was never anything like, ooh, maybe we need to have this conversation or reevaluate this.
What about my hair?
Listen, you were in your Bradley Cooper phase.
That's right. I forgot about that.
You really loved. It was a hot topic.
I loved him
for a couple of years. Your hair trying to look like. Remember when you did that commercial and they wanted you to cut it, and it was a huge deal?
Yes.
You called me. They want me to cut my hair.
Yep.
Oh, that's funny.
So were there any? Look, let's be honest. I was living in a warehouse.
You were. You know what? I think about that sometimes. That what your
dad was thinking.
It never really registered for me, because technically
you knew me.
Well, no, technically you were living at home, but you just never. You didn't want to make the drive from the office to your parents' house every day. So
and at that point, and my parents may listen to this. At that point, it was more toxic at home, because my parents were experiencing challenges and struggles in our business, in the shipping company, my dad's shipping company. And they were after how long? After, 30, almost 30 years of marriage, they were figuring out things that they hadn't dealt with before, to be fair to them. And so I felt like it wasn't the most healthy or beneficial environment for me, and the changes and the growth and the things that I was going through. And so, if my parents are listening to this, don't make meaning of that. just know that was my thought process, and I needed to keep myself in a space that promoted healthy growth, and I didn't want to take other people's stuff on. It couldn't have been my parents. It could have been a roommate or somebody else that I might have been living with. I just wanted to be on my own.
You needed your own space.
Yeah.
At that point in your life.
Yep. What else you got? We just hit it. Hit it off.
We did it. I feel like there's not like some big revelation that came from those early months of like. It meshed really well.
Yeah.
Early on.
Yeah. And I mean, I look back on it and people ask me, Meredith, why did you get married? And I'll say, it just felt right. Like there were a lot of things, but.
And not in a way that like we hadn't thought through it. You know, it wasn't
No,
like,
it wasn't haphazard.
Yeah. It wasn't like, oh, this seems right, so we'll just do it.
Or it wasn't like on my favorite show, The Bachelor. Well, it's not my favorite show anymore because it really has just jumped the shark. It's gone downhill. So I don't really watch it anymore.
Well, it's all for drama now.
Well, plus Hulu has a ton of commercials and I don't feel like paying for no commercials. So there's that.
Commercials?
No. So that's real though. That's really real. I watch it because as a professional expert level coach, I watch it just because this is an entire show based off of meaning that people make. This is a show based off of ego and envy and love. And it is interesting to watch the train wreck.
Well, I think, too, that show has become less about what, you know, a lot of the earlier couples, well,
yeah,
like two of
like
the
they were there
couples
for
are still
love.
Together. Like it was a promise of love and like an intense dating situation, but it doesn't bring in that real life. And then, you know, we're 30 seasons into it or something
right.
crazy like that, because this is just a constant cycle of it takes away. Now it's drama, and granted, there may be real feelings with these people,
of course
like,
there are.
you know, but
it's not the fantasy that it is today,
right?
It you know, most people live in this fantasy of what should be or could be.
Right. You know what, like talking about that, you think about like whirlwind romances. I don't feel like granted we were, I mean, magical.
Yep.
Whimsical. Like I don't feel like ours was a whirlwind.
It was not.
You know, it wasn't like some crazy like out of reality scenario and all of a sudden we're married and then we're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Not to say that we didn't enjoy each other's company early on and it was, you know, like, but you know what I mean? Like it didn't have this like fantasy around it. Like there was still real life stuff going on that we were dealing with even while we were dating.
Yeah. Like, I mean, the economic downturn from 2008 to 12, that was very real in our relationship. I mean, it hit my dad's business very hard in terms of clients that, you know, owed us a lot of money, and some of them, even 100-year-old companies, went out of business, bankrupt overnight, stock prices dropping, and, you know, hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars owed in receivables that we had worked with these companies for decades. And then all of a sudden it's gone. And for a small business to absorb 6 and 7 figures of receivables that will never be collected, put you on your ass. And so,
well, I think, we had to, we had to have real conversations right away. You know, like,
is that an aha, Mare?
An aha. What?
No, keep going.
Oh, I totally unplugged it.
That's all right. We'll hope that it's good.
Well, your computer's at 100%. Like, you know, there were actual things that we had to discuss, not.
Yeah, it wasn't all fantasy land. And I'll be honest with you, the relationships I had before, my fault, you know, was a lot of ego. How am I going to look? Who's going to, what are people going to think about this? And I made decisions off of that, of looking good, not looking bad, you know.
Well, it's interesting. I don't know. I feel like I'm using that word a lot.
Fine.
Even talking to your friends, like very early on, about you in previous relationships and how you would approach them, and dating early on, and not, you know, this wasn't like talking behind your back. Like you knew all of these things, right? So talking to your friends, especially your female friends, about you in other relationships and how they were seeing our relationship kind of play out. You were you had a different approach.
Yeah, I did. I think I had gotten to the point which everybody in their own respect has a different time frame in which they actually realize. I think, unfortunately, too many people get into those relationships, again, because they're trying to solve a problem, right? They're trying to fill a void. Or they're trying to not be the only one that's not married. I mean, it was actually, my friend group was very tight back then.
Yeah.
And everybody was married but me. And it was weird to go out with 4 or 5 other couples and be the only single person. And so there was a lot of social pressure, but not from them, in my own head.
Right.
Like,
well, I think that's where, we may build up that social
Sure.
pressure for ourselves.
But that's worrying about what other people think. And I'm really glad I didn't do that, because there were many times I remember we went out for tacos there were 5 couples. It was just me. And 2 people said to me, like, oh, is it weird just being the the ninth wheel? And I said, no, because I chose that. Like, I also thought about, well, maybe I should bring a date, or maybe I should, but that's weird. I was literally bringing a date
just so you would,
just so I could look good. Right. And then I was like, well, what date? Who should I bring? Oh, I got to bring the hottest, because I got to look really good. And
it's like every single Hallmark movie. You've got to find a date for an event.
Right. Right. And that just didn't work.
Hallmark movie.
I love a good Hallmark movie. I don't know. They're
so good.
They're getting weird. It's the same thing. We don't have cable.
I know. That's why we.
But Amazon will have the Christmas specials up.
Netflix has a good holiday roundup.
That's true.
Of romantic.
Where were we? We're getting off track.
The social. No, the social pressure of like having a date wherever you go. You don't want to be alone. But that's also too, like, not being alone. Like, your self-confidence, like, oh, I can't show up here alone. Why?
Well, I was an only child.
Yeah, you're used to it.
But I didn't like being alone. But I love being alone.
You love being alone.
Right? I also didn't understand who I was back then.
Right.
And so I didn't embrace and really understand the introverted side of me.
Mm-hmm.
I have this extroverted side, which is very extroverted. And it takes a lot of energy for me to be that extroverted. And it's not fake. That's really my personality. Yeah. It's just when I go home, I want quiet. I don't really talk to my neighbors. I don't, you don't either. and I almost think that looking back on it, one of the biggest things I appreciated was that you didn't push to go and, I've been in relationships before. I was telling you the other day where it was like concert after concert and sporting event and party here and party there. And I used to beat myself up because I was like, man, I have this side of me, but why don't I like doing this? Oh, I'm antisocial. Oh, I have anxiety, or I have depression. And I started labeling myself, which was extremely unfair, because today you and I love not being social. And I love that. And it's not us.
Well, we are social when we want to.
Right.
Like
but not forcing like, it's Friday night. Are we gonna go out? Are we gonna sit here being boring? But that's not something that we experience together. We can choose to go out and it's on our terms, or we sit at home and we do what we feel like doing because we choose that, and it's actually purposeful. Watch a movie, make dinner together, whatever it is. Not do dishes together.
I do the dishes.
But that's something really important to point out, is that people get into relationships so quickly to fill those voids and to have someone counter the weak pieces in their life, that they never have a chance to actually fill that bucket within themselves, unless they start on the work, the personal development, the reading books about the being, not the doing piece.
Right.
And I think that we nailed that. And unconsciously almost.
Yeah, definitely unconsciously.
Yeah. But we knew that we were, like, I didn't start dating you because you didn't want to do stuff, and I liked that.
Well, and I think too, like, before we actually went out on our first date, there wasn't like, I don't know, like there wasn't this pressure of like, oh my gosh, we met, now we have to go out on a date and we exchange phone. When is he going to call? When is he going to do that?
Right.
He took a piece off of my car. Is he ever going to come back and put the piece on my car? Like
that's a weird like throw in, and people are like, what the hell? He took a piece from my car.
Something was
dangling off her car, and I
story.
took it off because I didn't want her to drive like that. Whatever.
But there was no like pressure early on to like
we have to do this.
There wasn't a game.
Right.
You know, like
I gave him my number. Is he calling 3 days later?
You know, like like you suggested going hiking. It rained. We didn't go hiking. Okay, we'll try again another time. And then,
here's an aha.
What?
In our coaching business, it's very prevalent. In our training, it's very prevalent that we help people understand the meaning that they make of things.
Right.
Everybody makes meaning of everything.
It's so easy to do.
It's so easy.
Well, and we're like, our brain is almost programmed to do that.
It's not even almost. It is.
It is.
And, there's a lot of stuff around advertising, parents, society, the terrible school system. Everything is designed for us to make meaning of who we are and what we do. I posted something on social media this morning, which was today's October 30th, by the way. So if you want to go back and look at it, you can. It's October 30th when we're recording this. I posted something that said, it shows two windows. And on the left, there's a line of people that says prescriptions and excuses, I think. And on the other line, the window's empty. And it's like going like a ticket line. And the person sitting behind the window bored, and it says personal development or self-help, self-work. Mm-hmm. And everybody wants to choose this path of, I feel anxious, but instead of actually seeing why the anxiety is coming up, why it was built in you like that, why your brain's wired like that, we take pills. I'm guilty of that. Mm-hmm. I did that for decades.
Yeah.
And that was pushed by society. And when I was a kid in school, it was, oh, he's 5 years old, he has ADD.
Well, we're of that like, that generation of like pushing Ritalin, and everybody got tested, and what does that really mean? And
I'm not going down that road.
Yeah.
We're going to go down that road in schooling, and just be prepared for that one. We're going to get some feedback on that, which is great because we're very confident with it, and we're very set in our education on that whole thing. So we'll cross that bridge later. But the discovery today, like we discovered last time, how much I appreciated the fact that you pushed yourself out of your comfort zone when we were going on roller coasters.
Yes.
I do need and this time I'm discovering something that I didn't realize before, was that we didn't make meaning out of shit when we were first starting to date. And we really haven't done that all along in our relationship. There's other stuff that, past traumas and unconscious reactions.
Yeah, I guess we haven't made a ton of meaning. I mean, there have definitely been times where meaning
Congrats to us, Mara.
Where meaning could have been made, and it could have gone
big time
awry very quickly.
Right. And then you get right into your set ways, which is and I learned from my mom, be defiant, be argumentative, be, defend yourself, which is just her programming. That's not really her. That's just how she has to cope.
Right.
Right. No, nothing.
Well, I think there's when you don't make meaning of things, and that doesn't mean that we haven't done that.
Of course.
But I think, bigger situations could have been.
Yeah.
Could have gone very differently.
I mean, we would have been divorced.
Yeah.
And we've been close to that without making meaning.
Yeah.
But I think that's how we've been able to withstand.
Well, and being close to divorce, meaning like, that's just the easy way to be like, okay, we're not going to work on this. Not going to work through this. It's obviously never going to change. Right. So we'll just call it.
Right. Which means both of you are unwilling to change, or one of you is just completely unwilling to change and the other one's ready to change. And then the bridge is broken and it's unrepairable and divorce happens. That's our philosophy. That's our opinion. Don't write us.
Don't at me.
Don't at me on like that's just our opinion.
Well, because that's what we've experienced.
Right.
You know, like that's how we've experienced our relationship of like,
sure,
you got to push through some of the things. And it's interesting. You know, there have definitely been scenarios too where like there hasn't been some major breakthrough and whatever. I think we've just each kind of individually shifted mindset and whatever around it, and things have kind of calmed down and worked out.
Evolved.
They evolved.
They
That's
evolved.
the word.
Come on. But that is very accurate. And we're not saying that our relationship is perfect. I mean, and what we're painting here is a picture of our relationship from the beginning. But as we get going here in our stories in the next couple episodes, it's going to get rocky.
Well, and I think too, a lot of what people talk about in relationships is like either the really, really great stuff or the really, really shitty stuff.
Yeah.
There's no like, oh, this was really shitty and, you know, this is what we did to fix it and this is where we are and this is how we move past it and this is, you know, you don't really talk about that in between.
Well, there's got to be a counterbalance between the shit parts and the really good parts.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're painting a picture of a great relationship. Again, we're going to get into the details of what made it not a great relationship at times. However, you had our big word is commitment to growth and change to make sure that we stayed committed to the commitment we made, which was 10, how long have we been together? 9 years ago. Like 9 years ago, you know, a week ago, basically. Yeah, 9 years ago, exactly. A week ago, when we said we're here until we die.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a death sentence. That's not a life sentence. That's an opportunity. You know, when I posted about our 9 years together and I said, we're not celebrating 9 years together in marriage. We're celebrating 9 years of what we've built and created together. Not just 2 children, not just a couple businesses, not just, everything we've created together. And one of the biggest things is the possibility of growth and getting out of your own flipping way.
Right.
That's a huge thing that most people don't think about in their marriage is, are you actually creating for yourself, the relationship, and the other person? Well, yeah, yourself, the relationship, the other person, the possibility of moving out of your own way and getting out of the programming that you've been taught by whatever, inadvertently, unintentionally, schools, parents, society, and becoming who you choose to be, living into that future self and saying to yourself, I'm not happy with who I am. I'm not happy in this relationship. I can't change the other person. All I can change is me. I'm committed to this change. And from that, the other person will either take or they won't take.
Mm-hmm.
They either grow or they won't grow. They'll commit to the growth or they won't commit to the growth. But if you're committed to the relationship, relationships have to grow. They have to shift. They have to change. Relationships that stay stagnant, you're a slow treadmill ride to the grave. Challenge me on that. Write to me.
At me on that one.
Meredith at thelobasgroup.com.
I'm going to get
That's really her email.
I'll get all those emails.
No, I want the challenge. I want you to push, because people that are listening, remember the commitment is, you know, we have thousands of people that listen to this show, which I'm so grateful for. You know, we taken this show and completely revamped and changed it to be purposeful, to be on purpose with our content and our information and our education and our involvement. If there's something that's registering with you from what we're talking about, we're not relationship experts. We're experts in our relationship. Right. Look at this, Mayor.
Wow.
I'm going to have I want to have a couple more buttons that give us credit.
Okay. Can you change those?
Yeah.
And make your own?
You can do anything you want.
Oh, shoot. I'm going to think about sound effects now.
Yep. So we are experts in our relationship, and that doesn't come from signing a piece of paper. That comes from doing the
work.
Right. And not the surface level work, the deep down shit that you don't love, that's painful, that's uncomfortable.
Well, and it's the work on yourself first. I'm getting a big yes. And then and sharing with your partner. I think that's been
another
something that has come up for us through every situation. Every day there's something that we have to share with each other. You don't have to share everything, but sharing about yourself and what you're feeling and thinking and how something is showing up for you. And we share a lot.
We share a lot. And because of no meaning, we're free to share a lot more than the average couples, even couples that we know, who can only go to a certain level, only a certain line. Like, this is your partner for life. This is who you committed to for a lifetime. Why would you put a block on level 50 and not go beyond that? Mm-hmm. And most people will say, I don't want to deal with the shit. I don't want to deal with the headaches, the noise, the mouth. I don't want to deal with any of that stuff. And that's from both parties. How unfair is that of you to the relationship and to the other person? Mm-hmm. Everybody has to do their own work. Right? And it has to be for you, for the relationship.
So another thing too, also, and that I think is really important when you're sharing is knowing when you can't, I don't want to say can't, because that kind of
just say it and then we'll craft it.
Knowing when you can't share something with your spouse, not something private, but knowing when you need to seek conversation with someone else to work through something, because I can think times where you've come to me with everything, and at the height of our business partnership,
we're actually at the height now.
Well,
you mean when it was really we had to change?
When it was just the two of us, when we had to change, it was really tough, and we were together sitting staring at each other with our
I love that moment.
Facing each other, and literally we would only see each other's faces for the majority of the day, and
then go home with each other,
and try to separate that. But knowing when you need to say, okay, I'm gonna have this conversation with someone else and work through these things, and then come back to my partner and have this discussion and share with them. Sharing versus to have talking with your partner to unpack it all.
I love that.
And you're talking. There are times where even now where we both talk to other people about things because we know it's not something that is
it's about crafting the message,
right? Yeah,
but not crafting it because this person can't handle it. It's who do I need to be be able to share this info and have it land and connect in the way that I want as an intentional human being, and not just yelling or picking a fight, and then 40 minutes later you drop that bomb that all you needed to do is just figure out how to craft it, but not craft it out of fear about the other person's reaction. Craft it to be intentional with your information so you can get the result that you want. And not in a salesy way, but
just in a okay, I know that I taking this to my partner is going to be is putting a lot on them.
A lot of pressure, a lot of responsibility.
Responsibility to help me through this. When what I you are a problem solver, and there are times where
thank you.
You're welcome. And there are times where I just need to talk. I don't need this problem solved. I don't need anything to come out of this, but I just need to work through this situation because it's not real, but it feels real.
Sure.
And so I know that if I come to you with some things, you're going to be okay, well, it's a problem. Then we'll solve it. Then we'll figure it out. We'll go, but that's not what I need. So then it puts the pressure on you to not be who you are.
Yeah, fair.
Right? When I'm so I'll take it over here and then I'll tell you about it.
Because
the problem is solved. Even if it wasn't.
Yeah. You just need to communicate to your partner. Yeah. I'll be honest, that's a challenge. And I know that being a problem solver in my past was how I got power. That was my, in Landmark, that's your winning formula, right? I'll solve it. I don't need you. I'll solve this on my own.
Right.
And I learned that from my dad, who needed that resource when he was younger. And you'll hear more from my dad actually this month and subsequently every month. Tell his story too, because it's a lot, and his 40 plus years in business and 60 almost 70 years on the planet. Like, there's a lot there. But I was a problem solver because if I wasn't, I'm weak, and that was my self-imposed.
Yeah, but it's it's not, that's not a bad thing.
That's not in this case.
It's not in this case. It's just knowing, I think, being able to share with your partner openly and saying, like, I know that this isn't something.
Right. Although, I won't get into the details, but the other day, you did need me to help you solve a problem, even though you said, I just need you to listen.
Yes, and more came out of that. But I'm also saying that, like, there are times where, like, like, that was, but that was a problem that involved us and our home.
Yep.
And so
it was a challenge.
So yes, I brought it up to you, and
it was great. It was great. And in all honesty, one of the subjects we're going to talk about is stress testing your relationship.
That
later on,
yeah.
we're going to have a whole, maybe even a couple series on stress testing your relationship. The reason why that was such an easy conversation and it didn't end in, obviously both of us have raised our emotional intelligence together. We have risen together. We have grown together, and we still have a lot of growing to do individually and together. We've been a part of Keller Williams for a long time with our real estate business. And there's a law called a bold law that says your business grows to the extent that you do. Well, so does your relationship. So does everything else in your life. The result of whatever you're doing is the foundation of who you're being. And the thing you have to ask yourself is, if I can't get the result I want, who do I need to be in order to get that result? Because most people falsely believe that if they want that result, the person they are today can just go and get it. And that is dead wrong. Challenge me on it. Meredith at thelobasgroup.com.
Am I just going to be like,
yeah, you're going to get all the challenges. I'm going to get all the love. You're going to get all the challenges. No, seriously though, you have to become the person that can get the results that you desire. And it's in stages. That's why when I hear people in my coaching business and they'll say, I want to make $1 million this year. And I'll say, great, I can help you do that. You can't do that right now. Who you are can't, because you've never made $100,000. So how is who you are today, who hasn't been able to make $100,000, how in your mindset and your skill set, your willingness to do the work, your activities, your habits, how are you supposed to go from 70,000 to 7 figures without changing who you are? And I have a lot of people push back in our coaching business, and they have broken through this, which is, you got to change you first. And when we start working on who they are for, a couple months at a time, or maybe even years at a time, and they'll say, I just want to work on my business. And I'll say, yeah, but you are in your business. You are the business. You're the brand. You go into that office. You go with you every day into your relationship, especially for those that are married or living with somebody, significant other. You are in that every day. Who you are, your programming, your past conditioning, your traumas, it goes into and up to that present moment every single time until you make a choice, ready, to change it. Your choice. Your choice. Write me. Challenge me. I dare you. Please. If this is bringing something up for you, if you're feeling something like he's wrong, that's bullshit, I don't have a choice, challenge me on it. I'll give you an hour. And we can have a conversation, and I'm making you a guarantee that at the end, if you're open, you'll see the difference that I'm talking about. And then you're now aware and available to make those changes in your life. And I love that stuff. That's why our coaching business it's our heart, it's our passion. we're just able to help people just discover who they truly want to be and how to get that, to get the results in their life that they truly want. All right, I'll get off this soapbox.
Okay.
I'm very passionate about
You
that.
are very passionate.
I have
about
taken myself through some real dark times out of, and I just want to just pay that forward, helping other people who just feel like there's no options, you know? So anyway, I don't think we talked about our relationship in this. Our story.
Yeah, we haven't really touched on our story. We've just hit nuggets about.
Yeah, this is great. I've been hosting podcasts for a long time, and I know the feeling of when you're given great content and it's matching with what the audience wants, and this is it. That's not egotistical. I just feel really great.
There you go. Magical.
Seriously. It's I forget what we were talking about. Gosh.
Sharing with your partner.
Yeah. And
that's where all of this started, with how we share with each other, talk about things, do whatever, and don't make meaning of them.
Right.
We recognize when it's not that we can't talk to each other, but then, like
when we need third party,
yeah, and
help to craft, and then we bring it back to each other, which is the responsible thing to do. Instead of dropping a bomb, bringing our trauma with us, dropping that bomb, then the other person has no choice but to bring their trauma, their conditioning to that present moment and make a decision or reaction off of that. And so it's not real.
Yeah.
You're reacting from the time you were 8 years old. You're reacting from that one time back then, but you're doing that in the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. You want to learn more about it? Go to Landmark. I love Landmark. I am absolutely obsessed. Best training, best weekend.
Transformational education.
Yeah, like if you want to sit in a group sort of program, it is phenomenal. Landmark Forum. The Landmark Forum is the best. And we own a coaching business, and we own a transformational coaching, mastermind and event. And I would never stop giving credit to Landmark. It's my foundations are reshaped and crafted from that training, and I'm 100%. If you want a quick weekend blip, you want to break up the bedrock, you want to dynamite the foundation or the granite around the soft stuff that you're protecting, hit Landmark up, then hit us up, and we'll help you with the long-term sustainable coaching.
Not sponsored.
It's not sponsored. It's just my love for Landmark, honestly.
I feel like now you have to say that.
What?
With everything.
What?
You bring up some.
No, it's not. I wish Landmark sponsored me, but they don't. They you know how they sponsored me? They gave me that.
Yes.
They created a possibility for me to create the life that I truly want on purpose, by design, and I am eternally grateful to that organization for that. Absolutely. We spent 2,500 hours.
Yeah.
Alone, just in Landmark, not the other stuff that I've done as other personal development or my coach's training. It's 2,500 hours in Landmark alone. So much I love it. That's how purposeful it is. I'd never go back to any other stuff that I've done before, except for Landmark. So anyway,
circling
back, it is. I love having these conversations because I don't think the average couple sits and talks about these things and goes back and looks at their life and goes deeper than, we said last time, like, oh, you remember when we went jet skiing that one time? Or, hey, remember when we went paragliding on our honeymoon? Or do you remember that one time we were sitting outside on our honeymoon and that lizard started eating my fries on the on the pool deck?
Yes. Oh,
that's awesome to recollect. And you should go deeper. And we're challenging you to go deeper.
Well, growth is in going deeper, and I think there is definitely connection in discussing memories and
of course we look at pictures of our kids when they were little tiny babies, and although Pricey's only 9 months old, like we still look at him when he was newborn. Like last night we were looking at that. Like, look at the difference here. But the responsibility to the growth of the individual and the relationship is to go deeper.
I think something to do is, like talking about, you look at pictures of your kids, and look at how much they've grown, whatever. Go back and look at pictures of yourself and look at how much you've grown.
Not physically.
Well, yeah.
I mean, not just physically.
Yeah. I'm not talking about physically. I mean, like, go back to a time. I'm sure, like, if any of us pull up our camera roll, we can scroll back years and find a picture, and our memories will be triggered, and we will know exactly what we were feeling at that time, whether it's
you're right,
joy, sadness.
Who was I back then?
Who was I? Like, where you were at that time. And just pondering or, taking a minute and like reflecting on the growth and the change that you've made as a person.
It's really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I think I look back and I go, who, like, part of my journaling is I think about who I was, like, who was I back then? How did I make it? And then who am I today? Because a part of my vision exercise is to figure out like where we're going and the businesses and how to run those. And, our move to California someday soon is, who am I now? Where did I come from? And who do I need to be to achieve those goals, that vision that I set forth for us, the family, our relationship? And then Meredith you have to do that work on your side.
Right. Even
though I'm the visionary and the guy out front that kind of drives. I've told people this before. I'll say it again. Are you listening?
I'm listening.
The only way I can do that, audience, are your headphones on?
They are on.
The only way I can do that, do this. I'm having Mare open her arms up, heart chakra out, open to receiving this info from her partner. Right? This is what I'm telling you, audience. This is what we're doing right now. Is I'm giving her something that I really want her to receive. The only way that I can do what I do is because of you. Not that you make me, not that you are the reason why, but it's because of you, your support, and the way that you take care of everything behind the scenes. It allows me and my mind to be clearer.
They're up.
To be clearer and focused on what I need to do to propel this family forward. So thank you.
You're welcome.
You're amazing.
You're a gem.
So, and that's real. That's not me, putting one on for the mics. Like that is how I genuinely feel, because and I've come to that and really been able to see that openly and authentically, because I've been able to step out of my own way and really realize your value. You need to do another.
No,
Your value is exponential, and sometimes you don't realize it.
Well, yes.
But I'm not just telling you words. This is real. If you didn't do what you do and be who you are, we would not be in this situation that we're in. We would not have what we have. I wouldn't be able to go through the growth, do the 2,500 hours of landmark that I've been through. I wouldn't be able to fly out to LA just for a weekend course. Like, even though people see me as like, oh, Ian builds the businesses, I don't. I'm just the guy in front of the camera, really. And I'm the guy that does, the sales and talks to the clients, but it's all possible because of what you do behind the scenes and who you are for me in our relationship.
Thank you. I feel awkward right now.
Why do you feel awkward? Nobody's watching you.
I know, I know.
Open. Accept it.
I'm accepting. I am accepting of that. Thank you.
This is a challenge
telling me that.
You're welcome. This is a challenge that a lot of people have. It's really, and Aaron and I talk a bit about this at our front runner weekend. Is we have this exercise. Aaron's not gonna be happy, but I'm gonna sneak peek you in on something. There's an exercise that we do where when we talk to you and tell you something we appreciate about you, we have you put your arms up and open that heart chakra and open up to receive that information. And yeah, it's what you could call uncomfortable or awkward. And When's the last time you actually received something to your heart without saying, like, somebody gives you a compliment or your spouse gives you a compliment, you're like, yeah, okay. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, great. That's awesome. Yeah, I love you too. Yeah, it's great. But when's the time you really took it in and let the cells take it around your body? Yeah. It's a challenge for everybody.
It is a challenge because I think you're, receiving compliments. Like I just said it, this,
yeah.
Because you have to also recognize that in yourself and be able to say, no, I am that person.
Right.
I am giving, giving to the other person. I am valuable. I am.
Want to know a secret? I am valuable. I am loved.
I am loved.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's a good affirmation for you.
Mm-hmm.
Want to know a secret is the disconnect between what someone says to you in a very genuine and very authentic way and the way you feel or receive it. The disconnect is your work.
Ooh. Oh, that was a joke one.
Yeah. I accidentally hit that. Listen, pen and paper moment. None of that sounds cheesy, but seriously, the way if someone is unconditional in their explanation to you, and they're sharing vulnerably and authentically to you something they feel about you or something that they love about you, and it's authentic and it's unconditional, so it doesn't come with some kind of condition like, hey, I love you and can you help me with it, like very unconditional. The difference between those words hitting you and absorbing and how you feel and receive it, that disconnect is where the work needs to happen. It's for real.
A little nugget there.
Yeah, it's a big nugget. So that's all. That's it. It's been an hour.
Has it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, look, we'll just listen, we're figuring this thing out. We're figuring out the format. We're figuring out our lives together. We're figuring out relationships and how to bring you the absolute best on our podcast and create the best content. And we're figuring it out. And that's our commitment, is we will continue to figure it out and we will continue to elevate and evolve this thing. Everything in our lives, our businesses, who we are, how we come to the table, our relationship, our parenting, our everything, our entrepreneurial skills. Yeah. And we just appreciate you listening for an hour to us talking. And this is something that you should be doing. We encourage you to do with your spouse or your significant other, or even your children too. I mean, we have these conversations with our daughter. Obviously our son's too young, but we have these conversations with our daughter in a much more simplistic format, but of teaching her to communicate her feelings,
right,
understand what she's feeling, know what she's learning, be aware of that. And it's very beneficial and purposeful. Yeah. Anything else you want to say? Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Okay. Nothing else you want to share? There's no agenda there. I just
No, I'm.
You're good?
I'm good.
I think we shared a lot today.
We did share a lot today.
So let's wrap this thing up.
Okay.
Are you doing the outro?
You're doing it.
Okay. Well, for both of us, thank you. I think for both of us, I'm saying thank you.
Thank you. I'll say thank you too.
Thank you for listening and for valuing us and our commitments and our opinions and our experiences. Talking to the audience, by the way. Yeah, I know. I'm looking at you. I'm talking to the audience. Thank you, audience, for valuing us and listening to us. And like I said, our goal here is to share. And then after that, our goal is, if there's just one person that takes something from this and their life, their relationship, their business, their relationship with their children or their parents can be positively affected and impacted, evolved, we're that's us. That's what that's our mission is. And then if we can affect hundreds of thousands or millions of people, that's even more of a bonus. But just us sharing. And we want to just teach you that you sharing what you've experienced, where you've been, what you've realized, what you've grown through, and how and who you are today, that path, sharing that with somebody will help them get on their path or get another level up. So this is us in true authenticity, and I'm really proud of us, Mary. High five.
High five.
Yes. That's right. Oh, that's the wrong one. Magic. Okay, so thank you all for listening. Thank you for downloading. Really appreciate you writing to us and telling us what you love about the podcast and everything that we're doing, and changes we can make and additions we can make, and things that you feel we're doing that are serving you. Remember, there's no right or wrong in our book. It's just either serves you or it doesn't serve you. And I'm serious about those challenges. If there's something that came up for you while we're talking or we're describing something, you got to think Meredith and I have done a lot of work. We're very dialed in terms of our own personal development. So if there's something that came up for you or a feeling that you had and you want to express that or have a conversation with us about why we feel that way or why we've taken things that way or why I said it, reach out. menonpurposepodcast.com. You can go to our website, ianlobas.com/apply. Hit that apply button and just book a call with us. It doesn't cost you anything. Just book a call with us, because
people on purpose take action.
That's right. People on purpose take action. People on purpose don't just sit back and let things come to them. They take action. And I don't care if you think you're the biggest introvert in the world. You don't want to take action for your life. Whatever you value, that's fine. If you are not happy with who you are today, take action. And we're here to help you. So whether it's through our coaching program, our one-on-one, our group coaching, our front runner mastermind events that are 4-day weekend retreats, whatever you need, we got you. And Meredith and I will just keep coming on here and sharing our story and sharing what we've experienced and gone through for the benefit of all. And we really appreciate you. So again, ianlobas.com/apply. You can go to menonpurposepodcast@gmail.com or menonpurposepodcast.com to find out all the information on the show, on us, see pictures of our kids, friend us on Facebook, do your thing. We love you, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Bye.
Thanks again for listening to the Men on Purpose podcast, where our mission is to educate, elevate, and activate every man to truly live their best, most fulfilling life possible. To find out more about the podcast, our guests, or becoming a man on purpose, visit menonpurposepodcast.com and choose your most purposeful path forward.